I'd like to call the regular Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, December 17, 2018 to order. First order of business is Pledge Allegiance. Charlie, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2, public forum, limited to 3 minutes on any item on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the board in public forum? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 3, and that's approved minutes. 3.1 would be the November.
To address the board on these for 3 minutes.
Please come up and state your name and address for the record, please. It needs to be something that's on the agenda that you're going to talk about.
On the agenda, I'm here to show my support for this.
Well, then you can wait until the end. You can wait until the end of the meeting.
The end of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You'd think this whole meeting was a sham.
You're not part of this meeting until such time as a public forum, so you can keep your thoughts to yourself until that time. Thank you. Could you state your name for the record?
Dr. Justin Daly.
Dr. Daly.
And I'm here to respectfully wait for my 3 minutes.
There we go. Okay. 3.1, November 29th, 2018, Capital Plan Workshop. Any comments, questions, etc.? Changes?
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Second.
Anything further? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining, refuses, motion carries. Okay, the minutes from December 3rd, 2018, regular meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Comments, questions, changes, anything?
Good.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Item 4, Mulberry Point Water Main Project, Dennis Johnson and Marius Jedrzejewski. I butcher that every time I say it. So, item 4.1 is to discuss and take possible action on the award of rebid 13-1718 water main extension for Mulberry Point, Tuttle's Point, and Long Cove. Just to set the table a little bit, this project has been going on for quite some time. And Thursday last, at a town meeting, the town meeting approved us allocating an additional $3.1 million to this project. Additionally, on the 13th, I received a letter from the Department of Public Health, a long-awaited letter, blessing our moving forward with the contract. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys at this point.
Okay, so I'd like to go over the bid results,
Okay.
if you like. So again, my name is Marius Jedrzejewski. I'm the Senior Project Manager with Wright Pierce. Good morning, everybody. So we've completed a review of our bids. Bids were received on November 9th, 2018. We have received 4 bids for the project. True Blue Environmental of Wallingford was the low apparent bidder in the amount of $4,894,710.50. All 4 bids were within 80% of each other, with 2 low bids being within 1% of each other. So the lower bidder was slightly $30,000 over the low bid, which is really good. Came in very close. We've conducted a review of the low bidder documents and references. And based on review, we don't see any reason why the town shouldn't award the project to the low bidder, which is the True Blue Environmental of Wallingford, in the amount of $4,894,710.50. Thank you.
Questions?
What portion of that is a contingency?
We are going to be apply for contingency. Normally, Connecticut DPH provides contingency 5%. However, we're going to be applying for additional contingency up to 10%.
Okay. So it's one of the, I don't know.
The contingency
were you at the
was-
public meeting the other night?
I was not, no.
One of the concerns of some of the residents was,
Sure.
Is it likely to go over? So there's basically double the required contingency.
That's correct. And then this
So-
amount here doesn't include any contingency. Contingency will be added on top of that number.
I see. So this is their expected bid number.
That's correct.
Okay.
Has this company done any projects of this size?
Yes, they've done. We actually worked with them on a similar project, not this site, but similar water main project this year in Bethel.
In Bethel?
They've done a good job for the water main, and they also had extension, smaller size project.
How much smaller?
It was about close to 2,000 linear feet. So that was the recent project.
Dollars and cents wise.
Oh, okay. It was about $1 million.
Okay, so have they done anything that approached,
Yes, they've
$4 or
done other
$5 million?
projects. They approach, $4 or $5 million. Okay. So they,
All right, so they have some horsepower.
Yes.
Okay.
So that, I had really the same question as Charles. So your company has had a professional working experience with this
That's
company
correct.
in the past.
That's
and
correct.
Just to repeat it, you had satisfactory outcomes.
That's correct.
Marius, you talked about the relative bunching of the responses this time. You want to compare that to what happened the first time we bid this out?
Sure. So the first time the project was bid, Trubel was also the low bidder, but then other bids were much higher than that. We also had a low bidder that was actually disqualified because he basically said that his price was too low and he missed a lot of items in his cost estimate, so he withdrew his bid. So that low bidder, the first time around, his bid was $2.9 million, I believe. Trubel Environmental was the second bidder also, so he bid around the same price. What he bid this time. He was 4.7, now he's 4.8. This project really has a lot of permitting and really a lot of regulatory requirements. We really had to get the DEP permits, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, really difficult construction. So that price pretty much covers that.
Any other questions? No? Thank you. Is there a motion to award bid 13-1718 water main extension from Mulberry Point, Tuttle's Point, and Long Cove Road to True Blue Environmental Services Incorporated in the amount of $4,894,710.50?
I'll make that motion.
And a second.
Give you
Any-
authority to sign such papers as necessary.
Absolutely. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals? Motion carries. 4.2, consider and take possible action on a resolution authorizing Dennis Johnson, Health Director, to file the financial assistance application for the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund with the State Department of Public Health and execute the application on behalf of the town of Guilford. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
A second. Now, discussion, just as a way of background, we had been waiting on the DPH authorization to move forward with this contract before we could actually apply. So Dennis is going to be filing the application, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we hope to get it filed at the beginning of this new year.
Okay, wonderful. And that is for us to take advantage of the revolving loan fund, which is a 2% interest factor, which would allow the residents in the town to extend the payments over the 20-year life of the loan, correct?
Correct, yeah. Yep.
Anything further? No. Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Dennis, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're on our way.
I'll talk to you about that.
Item 5, Finance Director Mary Jane Malavasi received monthly 5.1 received monthly report from the Finance Director. What would you like to bring to our attention?
I'll start with revenue.
Yes, I'd like that.
So I just wanted you to note that the tax collector collections have been completely updated for this year so far. We're now showing 55.2% collected, which just by chance happens to be exactly where we were at this time last year. So although the tax collector is seeing more delinquencies in motor vehicle, as I reported last time, overall we are still trending as well as last year. The other item I'd like to talk about is the fire department. The hours of the new executive assistant in the fire department were increased from 35 to 40 hours, and I'm not sure if that is the total answer to this, but we have been receiving our revenues quicker. And we're not as far, we're usually a whole month behind. We've been getting them a little bit faster now, so we're at 42% collected, which is, right where we would be at this time of the year. So hopefully that trend will continue.
Yes.
So I don't, like I said, I don't know if that's the whole reason, but if it is, I'm happy for those extra hours. We're getting our revenues quicker.
Thank you.
Park and Rec, I noticed, is a little lower this year than last year. For the particular month of November, their room rental fees were low, and I'm not sure if that's a direct correlation with the fact that we've been meeting. All of our town meetings and commissions and boards have been in this building, so taking up room that might have otherwise been rented. So I'm not sure if that is, but it seems feasible at this point. I just wanted to note that the Public Works revenue is classified. The engineering was moved out of Public Works and separated, so you'll see that move in there. When you look at the revenue, you might see some odd numbers there, but we're working through switching the revenue. Overall, revenues are slightly higher than last year. And things seem to be on track even with state revenue at this point.
Good. Anything further on revenue? Expenses?
We're tracking a little bit higher than last year, due mainly in part to some of the timing of payments on an annual and quarterly basis. I wanted to note in the Selectmen's expenses, the full cost of the land use assessment is there for $36,400, and then we just paid our final bill at the very end of November, so we will be looking for a transfer from committed funds, because when the award for that contract was made, we let you know that we would be taking that from the technology line, so because that's an unbudgeted expense currently in the Selectmen expenditures.
Anybody else on expenses? No? We're good on expenses?
Yes. Anything on warrants?
I had none on warrants. No.
Okay, we'll talk
And
about
monthly, medical?
medical.
Yep.
Medical, we made some significant adjustments to the numbers going back to July. To make a long story short, Anthem totally revamped not only their website, but their reporting as of July 1, and how we see the fees broken out specifically on their invoices. HR and Finance just received training on the new site and how to find this information last week. So this month we're catching up on that. A lot of the fees that we were receiving came through as claims up until now. Anthem would have to pay specific fees to different networks for information, and they were coming through on the claims invoices. They have now itemized in great detail the information that we receive, and we're able to pinpoint those fees down to, one last month was like $39. I mean, and this was brought to our attention through one of our brokers, because he was noticing that my claims were running higher this year than he was seeing, because the reports he was getting were just claims, and the reports I was receiving still included those fees. So if you look on there, you'll see that our fees are higher this year than last year, as they should be, where in fact before now they were trending almost exact or lower. So we have made that correction. Like I said, going back to July, it does not change the overall bottom line of the fund, just how we're allocating between claims and fees, and it's going to allow us to better anticipate next year's numbers. So,
Where do the fees show up on this report?
at the very top,
Admin?
admin. See under admin, so if you see this year's admin, for instance, for July, 157 as opposed to admin last year at 139, we should see that increase as their fees go up. But we were tracking actually lower than that before now.
And what
So-
we're paying those folks, that's the third-party administrator, we pay them to, we're self-funded up
Correct.
to the stop loss.
Correct.
But those folks administer all the incoming, outgoing
Yes, they
claims,
do.
payments. They take care of all the paperwork,
Correct.
insurance paperwork.
Everything.
And for that, they get that sum that you've
Correct.
stated.
Correct.
So are the 17, 18 numbers not consistent with the way that we're now going to be reporting 18, 19?
Correct, but the way Anthem was reporting last year, we're unable to pull those out at this
Okay,
time.
okay.
So,
All right.
they obviously saw a need to revamp how they were managing it, and so like I said, July 1. And you could almost make the claim that make the argument that it was claims, because in order to manage those claims, and I think that, so it's definitely better this way, although I won't say it was like 100% wrong the way they were doing. I don't want to put them under the bus, but it's definitely much better now. We're able to see every dollar, the ins and outs with their new system.
We're bidding this year.
We're what?
We're bidding this for the upcoming year, is that correct?
We have discussed possibly going out for bidding for medical. It is still on the table, and our broker is putting together the information should we do so, but we haven't actually decided to go forward.
Who is the company or broker that we work with?
Milliman,
Oh, okay. I should remember that.
That'll be put out to bid.
that part we put up. Oh, I'm sorry. The broker is going out to bid. I'm sorry, not the medical.
Not the coverage.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was wondering about
I'm
the
sorry.
medical.
I thought it was the Anthem.
I was asking about the medical.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right. So I did answer your question correctly.
You answered both questions.
Well done.
Right.
Bank shot.
Just by luck.
The revisions also show that at this point we're projecting about a $500,000 surplus again.
Correct. Now, keep in mind, our claims are always, low at the beginning of the year, especially now that the town has moved to HSA. So again, we'll really be watching the claims this year. I got a little idea of what the Board of Ed trended last year. This year, we've had a significant number of our employees move to the HSA. So with the HSA, we always trend lower at the beginning because the employees are using the money in their accounts, and then, as the year progresses, it turns to our claims.
Speaking of the HSA, we received a note that the town contributions to the HSA was not in the medical report.
They are not.
Where are they?
It's a direct expense from the budget.
So it's in benefits and,
Correct.
okay.
So, I'm
Charlie,
sorry,
that's
where
a
does it
good-
show
that's-
now?
Um, a general fund expense.
Okay.
It's a simple transfer. I mean, we could put it through here. It would be an in and out.
But I think to Charlie's point, the total cost of providing health care, picture to show that.
It's logical that it's in benefits, it's just, you want to know that it's there because that's a real cost.
Right.
You could certainly, pass it through the fund.
When we go
next
through the
year.
budget cycle,
We
we'll
can
put
talk
the
about
item
that.
on.
Yeah, like I said, it would be a revenue in and a revenue out, but
I know the
certainly it
first
could-
year on
could
a
go
lot of the
through.
contracts is substantially different than it will be going forward, so it'd be interesting to see the effects, although it's only a one-time effect. Okay.
No problem.
Anything else? Nope. All right. Thank you. 5.2, discuss and take possible action on the transfer from reserve for personnel to the fire department salary accounts as a result of settled labor contract. Mary Jane, anything you want to add beyond that?
Not really. It's all in my. Just trying to.
Your memo?
I have to
Gotta
move.
switch
Yeah.
meeting.
I have to switch meetings. Yes. Yes. So at the very end of last year, the labor contract was finally signed. So this year we had some increases. 2.65% was the increase from 2018 to 2019. And these numbers here that I have in front of you, the total of 113,340, are based on actuals for this year.
After we make this transfer, what will remain in the reserve for personnel account, and are there any other contracts that still need to settle out to?
No, all of our contracts are settled at this
Okay.
point. I don't believe we have.
Their settlement, did you make a change, did you
For which
money
ones?
the other ones as well? Like you do right now for fire, did you do for the others that were settled?
I'd have to double check that to me.
Okay.
I know we did, but now I don't remember if we did last year, this year, because we would have had to
Okay.
do both years.
It'd be
so.
interesting to see if there's anything left in the reserve,
Well,
and then the flip side,
yes, we
if
did,
there's
we did
enough
the police, we did
to
the
cover
police
everything.
already.
Yeah.
We did police
That was-
already, and then this is fire. I didn't see any other.
Well, I don't know
items
if
in-
we did a GA transfer or not. I don't know if we've done that.
I'll have to
So
check.
it's-
Thank you.
The overtime shown here it's too soon for us to start calculating the overtime savings that we hope to achieve by having the 8 firefighters on board.
No.
I mean, we don't know that yet, right?
I don't have that to share with you today, but Mike Shove is tracking
Yeah.
all of that. I might have, I don't know.
It's okay, I just, this number of 3,300 is, you can't say that's higher or lower. I mean, it's too soon to,
Oh, correct,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
This is based on
Last
what
year.
we budgeted with a contract
Yeah.
increase.
Okay.
So, as opposed to what we might have moving forward.
okay.
But Sandy, your larger point is a good one. It was anticipated that replacement salaries would go down, not necessarily overtime.
That's right,
Replacement
replacement.
salaries
Right.
would go down
Good point.
as a result of them being at a fuller complement on staffing. So I just tried to pull the replacement salaries up. And
I recognize those 8 people had to be trained, so it's still,
Right.
you know,
we're currently at 48.6% of budgeted allocation for replacement salaries, and as my recollection is, we were over in that line item last year substantially. So we're tracking a little bit above it at this point.
Yeah, I'd
We'd have to take a look. Okay, is there a motion to move $113,340 from reserve for personnel into the full-time salaries account and overtime account in the amount of $110,000 and $3,340 respectively?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals? Hearing none, motion carries. Tony, you gonna come on up? Item 6.
cheer for him. And he's not
Tony
feeling very well, so
Santarcangelo?
his voice is,
We'll see how I last.
All right, 6.1, consider and take possible action to contract with Connecticut Computer Service for infrastructure services being purchased off the state contract. I think this board is aware that we have been working with Connecticut Computer for some time. In fact, we had those discussions when this board made the recommendation to allocate $150,000 from undesignated fund balance to a designated technology account. And this would be the first usage of some of those funds. So, Tony, you want to give us a little background on why we're doing this for the viewing public as well?
Sure. A lot of stuff is behind. Servers, backup. I mean, I have been backing up, but the software. Licensing is a big thing. We need to get up to date with our Microsoft licensing. Hardware. This will consolidate everything into what's called high availability server. If one server is going down, the other it could be worked on while the other server is taken over, with almost 100% uptime with the user's documents, anything related to that. Our Exchange server hasn't been supported in the last probably 2 years, so that, which is our mail server, that'll get updated to not the latest, but one version back, because the latest version of Microsoft Exchange just came out like a few months ago. Don't want to go there yet. Consolidate our print, make a print server instead of having all the users have their own printing installed on it. There'll be one location for all their printers on the server instead of on their computer. easily managed. Also consolidate all the users' back documents here. Right now, like as the community center as an example, their documents are located on the server here. At some point, I want to get everything in a central location instead of at each end user or end site. Also on the server, there will be what's called Zix email. It'll be archiving. A lot easier to, if there's an FOI request, consolidate that, get that out to whoever's requesting it. And that'll also do spam filtering, virus protection on top of what the firewall does.
Tony,
That's about it.
I'm glad you brought up a couple of points. Number one, our Active Directory server, we're running on a 2003 version.
Correct. Mixed.
Mixed.
I have some newer servers, but
predominantly AD is running
Yeah.
on 2003.
which is way overdue.
Right, and then this upgrade on Exchange is really, it's a twofold upgrade, right? You have to go from
You do.
the 2007 version to 2013.
And then to
Right.
2016.
Right. So the other thing, just in terms of who's doing the work, and we're engaging Connecticut Computer for a significant amount of professional services as well. How's that going to break out? What pieces, how much are you going to do, and how much support are you
I'm going to
provide?
I'm going to work with them side by side the whole project.
Okay. So would professional services been higher had you not been able
My
to?
guess is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had someone just do everything and
Right.
not be involved, yeah.
Okay.
We don't have Exhibit A, which is the proposal. It didn't come through with our materials. But I see Matt's copy here.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if you can tell us the breakout
Yeah.
between services
Right.
and
Of the
Party stuff.
total, which is 165,407, the professional services subtotal is 50,000. So the balance of that is hardware, software licensing, subscription services, et cetera. So,
Over 200.
Period of time?
how long is it going to take them to do the?
It looked, I was
the
just doing
implementation?
that when I was sitting back there. It looks like over 200 hours.
Right.
I don't have a subtotal here.
We're looking at probably a 4 to 5 month window to accomplish
Yeah.
this. Because there are certain foundational steps you have to take to progress through it. Tony, I have a question. How long have you been doing IT at the town?
Over 20 years?
Have we ever made an investment of this size?
No.
A significant investment of this size?
No.
And are we in a position to make that investment because we've neglected doing some of this stuff over the years?
Pretty much, yeah. My time was also, I have to help end users as well. So I would say, yeah.
Well, the one thing that bothers me a little bit is when you talk about our Exchange server, we're out of support. Microsoft no longer supports that version.
Correct, meaning
So-
security
So
patches.
what safeguards do we have that we're not going to find ourselves in the same position where we have critical components on our IT systems that are no longer supported by the vendors?
Yeah, what I would have to do is upgrade as time goes on.
Right.
And when the end of life comes around.
And do you keep an inventory of
Yes.
those various categories of
I do.
support?
I have a question. What work have we done with this consultant in the past? And kind of what I'm wondering is, we had a situation a couple months ago where we purchased, I think, a truck at a better price than we would have had on the state contract. So I'm wondering what your experience is with this contractor and their pricing, and if it's possible to, or feasible to, get prices from somebody else.
We did get prices from someone else,
Good.
2 other people that I think
Right.
Matt was involved with. They were similar, but they weren't Microsoft certified. Connecticut Computer Services is a Microsoft certified partner. I also, on my own, I know people that work at the state that use them and gave good recommendations as well. And that's just, hearsay, but but we've never used them.
Okay. All right. Just doing the math in my head, about 50,000 of the contract is for the labor, and it's about 200 or a couple hundred hours. That's $250 an hour. That seems high to me. I don't have much experience with computer consultants.
Do they have this or no?
It's more than 200
there's
hours.
more to it
Yeah,
than
I
that.
only
It's more than 200 hours.
I think on the
Okay.
state,
Oh, yeah, it's 165.
is it 160 something? I wasn't
165.
100% sure, so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and that's actually a relatively common rate, having been in the IT consulting world, somewhere between 150 and 200 for standard techs.
Okay.
Once you start getting to higher certification levels on some of those techs, the numbers go up.
Different mix of individuals.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we ask them? Can we ask them to discount it? Can we ask them to take something off of that?
Actually, we already have. They've already. The original proposal had an assessment phase to this, and they have, which was I think $3,000 or $4,000 on the assessment phase.
Yeah.
And when we asked them to start sharpening the pencil, the assessment phase came out, so they did not charge us for the assessment work,
Great.
and they've already invested. 20 hours of assessment work to get us to this point.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Having been on the other side of that table, it was much more fun to go ask for it than have to give it.
So this may be in the same supplemental information there, but you note that time is of the essence, which isn't always in every contract. I'm sort of curious why that is the case here and what the schedule is that we're looking at.
The schedule of when it would.
Yeah, when they're
The-
going to perform what they need to perform. So
They
the
said-
consultant agrees in accordance with the project schedule provided by owner. So is that already in existence, or are you going to create a project schedule?
It's already, actually, this is already, the actual time frame when it would start,
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. I think they told me and Matt that.
Well,
if
it was
we-
dependent on when we signed the contract.
Yeah.
This is a business like every other business.
February, he said.
Who you have to slot and schedule stuff in. So,
I think he gave us a time as February to start.
Sorry, right.
If we were to go
We were to
forward
execute
now.
the contract in December.
So when that happens, there's going to be a project schedule as part of that
Yes,
project.
yes. They are developed. They have already developed the project schedule.
Yeah, do they have
And
this?
I don't think you.
No,
included
there's a
that in this
phase
document.
1, phase 2, up to 7 phases.
Right.
And
It
just sort of
doesn't provide a
roughly-
schedule, though, but I think Lou is saying, we need to get this work done. How quickly will
Yeah.
it get done?
I'm not imposing any sort of deadlines. I'm just sort of curious who has and when we'll see it and when we know exactly what that is. So if it's in work, in process, and you're going to get it to us, fantastic.
There are
hoping
no.
everything goes smooth.
There are currently no dates on it. As Tony said, there are 7 phases to this project. This is basically the kickoff for the project. Once we execute the agreement, then we will negotiate with Connecticut Computer in terms of when they have the resources available to start this. Tony has some considerations on his time, but we're probably going to have to be more flexible than they are in terms of meeting their windows of opportunity. So.
I don't want the viewing public to think that we have neglected, per se, our IT. Many of these items were on our 5-year plan moving forward. We were only able to do them piecemeal.
Yes.
Because of the time restraints on Tony's end. So this is a real comprehensive project of things we might have done over time. If you remember when we were talking the 5-year plan, I had mentioned there were 3 items just this year that we had taken off that plan because we had anticipated signing this contract. It was almost $80,000 worth of hardware and support itself. So I just don't want people to think we're neglecting the IT because we might have done a better job of getting ahead of ourselves and making sure we're not to this point, but we have over time kept us running. We were down this past year, which necessitated a new look at how we were doing things. And, I asked Tony to do that, and so we've come forward with this. And because of the money you have set aside, we're able to probably get a much better deal because we're doing it all in one contract than we were going to be doing it piecemeal over time. So I just wanted to say
You
that.
touched on it. Perfect. Thank you for that explanation. It anticipates my next question, which was, as a result of doing this comprehensive build up, especially it sounds like the backbone of sort of the guts of the operation, right? I mean, are we going to see some savings down the line on capital items? Does this sort of get us a little closer to like a sort of just a routine replacement schedule for material so that we're not sort of dealing with emergencies and expensive fixes down the line?
Oh, definitely. I'm hoping no expensive fixes down the line.
But on the
So
other
that's
hand,
that's a little bit of a challenge, and I understand. But I mean, I'm anticipating that if there were things on the 5-year plan that are now getting pulled into this, that we'll see a little bit of a savings on future requests.
Right.
At least at least the next couple years as we kind of right size everything that we have. and
Definitely
make
the
it
next
work.
couple of years, but keep in mind, once these
Then you gotta
items
keep
start.
doing it.
Right, we have to keep.
Much better to do it in an orderly fashion.
right,
though.
because we don't want to lose the advantage that we're going to hopefully
Absolutely.
have, and so.
Doesn't mean we can sit back.
Right, and I think sometimes in presentations that I've listened to when I was on the other side of the table, you say, well, the server isn't supported, but we can get by for another year. And maybe that's not the way we should be
Right.
looking at it in the
Right,
future.
you're right.
Yeah.
And just as a clarification, when I said we underinvested, I was part of that problem. Look, we sat on the Board of Finance together, and we knew that there were challenges in the IT organization, but based on budgetary pressures,
Capital investment.
capital investment was often pushed aside. So, which is why we decided to take the course that we took, which was to allocate money from the unassigned fund balance because it was an
Exactly right.
opportunity to catch up and now to get us on a path where we stay current. So,
All good decisions
Yeah.
moving forward. Yep.
fabulous. All right.
I just want to add that as part of your approval, we need to award their bid based on state contract. I'm not sure if that's in your motion. But,
It does say state contract, but
Okay.
now you just mentioned something in the current operating budget, the fiscal year 2019. You just indicated that this project will incorporate some of the funds that we had already anticipated using.
Correct.
In the 2009, so it is not all going to come out of the designated
Right.
designated technology account, right? So we'll figure out what that is because we're going to have to go to the Board of Finance eventually for them to allocate the balance, whatever is needed beyond.
Right, you put that on today's agenda.
Yeah.
So the use of the 150,
50, right.
certainly your motion could be up to, we could just take what's needed as opposed to, pulling the whole 150.
Right.
That's our estimate at the moment.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's entirely up to you
All right.
to do so.
All right, so is there a motion to execute the contract with Connecticut Computer Corporation for $165,407 and to utilize existing funds in the 2019 operating budget, and the balance of which to come from the technology assigned special fund?
And to waive the
Up to-
bidding
And
process and to
in
use
addition, waive
contract.
the bidding process. because
Pam will
this
want
is
to
a-
see that wording in the motion.
That's right.
It's a state contract.
Because we're buying it off the state contract.
Yes.
Does that sound like a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
You got it?
Second.
Anything further? Call the question. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstaining, recusals? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7, Board of Ed Operations and Facilities, Cliff Gurnham. Cliff does not appear to be here. 7.1, consider and take possible action on change orders for the electrical upgrades at Baldwin and Cox. We have a document in front of us from Cliff because Cliff is unable to attend. Are you comfortable moving forward with the change orders as delineated on this document?
I think it's important to note that the Standing Building Committee did make this
approve it,
recommendation.
right.
They all seem fairly straightforward. I mean, rock ledge and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna do.
The one I was sort of curious about was the kitchen panel and room panel. Like, that looks like something that would have been part of, like, you know, somebody could have eyeballed. I mean, the other stuff, I kind of agree, it looks like trouble that developed. Yeah,
Well, that just
Okay.
goes to the process at the front end, right? It should have
Yeah.
been part of the original bid.
right.
Yes. What's the pleasure of the board? I'm comfortable moving forward with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
With an ask on why that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that would be great if we could get
Tracy,
some
could we get
backup.
Get some explanation in detail, but other than that-
on that one, on change order number 12?
Rare is the project to this side that there's not going to be some change orders. It's just occasionally you want a little bit of detail, but, so, yeah, I'm
That's
happy
fine.
to move forward.
Good. All right, is there a motion to approve the change orders as delineated on the memo from Cliff Gurnham?
I'll just add in the total of
Thank you,
$23,553.07.
Lou. Thank you, Lou.
Second,
Any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, refusals, hearing none, motion carries. Item 8, Public Works Director, Tom Fillion, discuss and take possible action on the purchase of a rotary lift. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
Tom, you want to just tell us what a rotary lift is first for those the uninitiated?
Well, these are more high-tech lifts. They're electronic, battery operated, wireless, and they have these particulars that the particular lifts that I'm looking at now have a total capacity of 36,000 pounds. The two of them together, and the reason why we're looking for these is we already have 4. These 2 would be able to lift a 10-wheel truck, whereas right now we're only able to do with a 6-wheeler. And also, there's another kit that comes with this that allows us to do pickups and like a Mason body truck, smaller truck. Just the 2 of them will be able to pick that. It comes from off the state bid, 17 PSX 0074.
Somebody penciled that in. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
It helps that you're pointing that out.
Okay, and the cost of the pair is $23,891.85. Like I said, this will allow us to utilize 2 bays, and when we do need it for a 10-wheeler, we can make that pick. Right now, we can't.
So what do you do now when you have that need?
We have one stationary lift that's there that's used a lot. I mean, that's the reason why we asked for these mobile jacks before, so that we can utilize all 3 of our bays at the same time, because we do take care of 132 vehicles for the town. Wow.
I didn't realize that.
This is a small thing, but I noticed on the quote that if you pay it by the 15th of the month, you can take a 0.5% off the total. I don't know how fast that can happen or whatever, but just thought I would mention it.
Okay.
You can't have the difference, though.
Well, he does, it stays in his budget.
That's right, he does, that's right. You get.
Gives them a little easier breathing room.
I apologize, I don't remember, and I should, but was this in the capital budget for the current year specifically, or is this a
No.
new need?
This is a new need. Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to take from to be able to do this?
Yep.
It's being purchased from current bonded funds, where we had some savings from some other purchases, and we're able to utilize that money for this purchase.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything further?
That's it.
That's it. Is there a motion?
I'll make.
So moved.
Andrew's got it.
And that motion includes where there's not a bid because we're buying it off the state contract, right? Good. In the amount of $23,891.85. It's been moved and seconded. Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, recusals, hearing none, motion carries.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You got it. Have fun with the new toys.
Keep our
Your
fleet on the
your
road.
mechanics will, anyway. Your mechanics will.
Appreciate it, that's for sure.
Good. Item 9, Parks and Rec. Rick, want to come on up? 9.1, consider and take possible action on rental and placement of an office trailer for Parks and Recreation personnel behind the Public Works garage. Rick, you just want to talk a little bit about, first, the need and why we're doing this.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, by the way, thanks for having the meeting here today. Made my commute a little shorter. Up the stairs.
Set of stairs.
We've been thinking about this for a while. We got to a point where we thought we really need to try to move forward with this. The work conditions for our guys down in the garage are not ideal. They have no space to eat. Their lunch, it's a garage. So they're eating the same place where there are fumes from, machines, exhaust in there, and sawdust and paint and whatever. It's a garage that they're having their lunch in. They also have no restroom. Their hand wash station, it's a sink that used to just drain into a 5-gallon bucket, and they'd have to take that and just dump it outside. So now we have a better sink. But and our park foreman's office space is really about the size of a closet. There's no ventilation. There's a loft above his office, and there's a compressor on that loft. Every time the compressor goes off, dust comes down, mouse droppings. I mean, he gets sinus infections. It's just not a great situation for the guys. So we've been looking into a 12-foot by 60-foot trailer, office trailer that would go behind the garage. We got approval from P&Z last week to put it there temporarily. This is temporary. We're hoping only maybe a couple of years. And so we looked into a few different companies. There were 3 quotes we had. One of the companies since has gotten bought out by another one, so we really have 2 quotes.
Well, you had 3 at the time.
We had 3, yeah. We did. And they're very close in price, for the first, I'm thinking the first year is really 6 or 7 months, because it'd be like, let's say, next week through June or something. So, I mean, the difference is, I think, $100 or something like that between the two. But we're recommending Williams Scotsman. They're a little bit more, but they're in Middletown. The other company is in Massachusetts. And again, the difference is pretty minimal. And also, is insurance included with the Williams Scotsman? I didn't see it in the other company, Triumph, but they had money in there for insurance to cover any liability or whatever. So I think in the first year of budget. Let me step back. In addition to the rental fee, there's a separate fee for a holding tank and pumping it out and bringing water in and so on. And we talked to a local company about doing that, and their suggestion for the winter was to use salt water in the tank. That way we wouldn't have to worry about heating it or anything. So the proposal I have includes that water for the whole 7 months, but I think once we get out of the cold weather situation, we can fill the tank ourselves with a hose.
Right.
But I just put the maximum, maybe it's going to be less than that. So the first 7-month cost would be for the trailer, which includes setup, they include the breakdown with the setup. It's all like in one fee. And the rental would be $7,325. And then the water, the tank, the holding tank, pump out is $3,290. So the total first year cost would be $10,615. 2 different companies, though. So, it's a different agreement.
So we're going to use a local company for the pump out and everything?
Right. The trailer company doesn't provide that service. You have to contract with somebody else to do it anyway.
Okay.
And so we would like to use the local folks for doing that. So, we'll have to, the amount we will need this year is $10,615. Then the second year, it's $14,460, which again, one is the trailer, one is the pump out fee. So I guess what I'm looking for today is approval to get the trailer for the dollar amount for that. The other one is it's under $7,000, so it's just quotes anyway. And I was re-looking at it, Matt, after I sent the letter, I have to look back and we have to research and find out. I'm assuming we can do partial years. I'm thinking 1.5 years. Right. If we have to do 2 years, if we have to lock into a 2-year contract, it would be, I'm sorry, where's my note here?
Rick, I'm not overly concerned about a 1.5 versus a 2-year contract, because given the time it's going to take for the facilities assessment task force to come to some kind of overall understanding and level of recommendations, and if that requires building something or acquiring something. I'm not sure that 2 years will be here before we know
Yeah.
it relative
Yeah,
to
it's
that
true.
process, so
Yes, right.
I'm not concerned about that.
Okay. And Rick, does this address some potential OSHA concerns? I mean, safety.
It could, you know, I mean, we haven't gone there, but there are some
Hopefully
issues.
not.
Yeah, no, I think you know, the guys could have an issue if, you know, if they wanted to push something. It's not a great situation.
Perhaps if you do a 2-year contract, you might get a slightly better deal. You could
We
check.
might, yeah, yeah.
Lou, whether or not this rises to the level of OSHA is just, it's unacceptable
Yeah.
Right.
to put our employees through conditions like that. It's just, no other employees are forced to work in that type of situation.
Yeah.
And I've been out there, and I was out there last winter during, when we had a meeting, Tom, Rick, myself, and actually I think Jim was part of that first meeting, wasn't he? And then we subsequently this summer we had meetings. The other piece that needs to be addressed here is 2 years is probably a reasonable window because Tom's looking for a wash bay, and we're sort of, and this is going to go exactly where that the truck wash bay station was originally slated for. But there were some other things going on relative to negotiations on property that may relieve that pressure or make that decision easier. So Tom has graciously given up part of his yard for this trailer to go in, and we've accommodated so you can still get access to the back end of the where you store all your tables and materials and so forth, right?
Yeah, and the way it'll line up, there's a garage door in the back there, so we can still get in and out of that door. The trailer's not going to block that.
Great.
So it's essentially comparable, related to like temporary classroom structures that have gone up, right?
Yeah,
And
similar,
the interior of these are finished like offices. Once you walk in there, it's temperature controlled and it's like,
We do have to
standard
get
office space.
we do have to get some electrical hookup, and we're talking with Cliff to see if Ray Adams can help us with that.
Right.
We'll have to bring electricity into it.
Right. It's not like a corrugated steel wall structure that
No,
you're
it's a
office.
you know, construction trailer pretty much is what it is.
Yeah,
You see
okay,
it in
that's
a
a better
construction
analogy.
site. Yeah.
Good. Anything further? All right. Is there a motion? Who are you gonna? This is
So it would be Williams Scotsman is the company.
Yep.
And I mean, do you want to approve a full 2-year amount, or just for the year? Or?
Let's approve it up to 2 years.
Okay.
And to be determined as we move forward.
So the max, if it's 24 months, it's $19,820. That's if it's 24 months. But again, I think maybe it's a year and a half. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and then the process of disengaging from this contractor and having them remove it is just simply a function of saying, okay, we have alternate arrangements. Guys, pick this up. Give them 30, 60 days.
I think so. That's what we're going to confirm. That's why I'm thinking.
There's
I
an
think
easy
you can go
way
month
to
by month.
conclude it.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Shame on us if 5 years from now it's still there and we're still
Yeah.
using it.
Well,
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Is there a motion to move forward with William Scotsman trailer, 12 by 60 trailer for a rental period not to exceed 2 years at this point, and not to exceed $19,820? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion. Sure, thanks.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion or comment? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Recusals? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You really make the guys really happy.
Well,
Thanks. Appreciate it.
well,
Employees.
employees is,
The employees.
should be taken care of, right? All right, item 10, to take possible action on Guilford Youth Mentoring Proclamation. Would you like me to waive the reading of the entire proclamation? I'll read the end, the last part. Yeah, why don't I read it anyway? All right. Yeah, I think so. I think it's
One of the
appropriate.
good-
It's one of the good ones, right? We're not talking about a bond resolution, right? Whereas this is the proclamation. Whereas the Board of Selectmen encourages participation in programs which give back to the community, and one such program deserves our recognition. Mentoring is about people helping youth to succeed. Mentors are caring adults who are good listeners, offering support and encouragement. And whereas young people who are matched with mentors benefit greatly, they improve their self-confidence, improve their attitudes, increase their interest in staying in school, improve relationships with peers and families, and are less likely to get involved in drugs and alcohol abuse and delinquent behavior. And whereas mentoring benefits mentors as much as mentees, mentors report that they improve their morale, learn more about themselves, improve their own values, get a fresh perspective on their lives, and feel more satisfied. And whereas the mentoring program nurtures and develops many benefits which results in a sound investment in Guilford's future. The Guilford Youth Mentoring Program has made significant contributions by promoting and supporting caring relationships between volunteer mentors and Guilford's youth. And whereas the Guilford Mentoring Program needs more mentors to share what they know and pass it on, and the Board of Selectmen strongly encourages more adult participation from every facet of your community. Volunteering as a mentor makes a positive difference in a Guilford youth's life and ultimately our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Guilford do proclaim January 2019 as Mentoring Month in Guilford in honor of this highly successful program. And in witness whereof, we hereunto set our hands and cause the seal of the Town of Guilford to be affixed this 17th day of December 2018, with thanks and best wishes for continued success. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Second. Any further comments or questions?
I'd like to comment that I know Mr. Haverda is a longtime
Time
mentor.
mentor.
I don't mean to
Right.
leave anyone else out. I don't know if anyone else does. I haven't had the opportunity
Neither
myself.
have I.
but Would you echo those
Oh,
comments
absolutely.
about the...
I don't mentor at this point in time, but yes, it was a great program. Great program.
Excellent. All right. I echo the sentiments. This is just another piece of evidence about the willingness of people in this community to give back and to do something to make this a better place to live. So I also call the question on the proclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Recusals? Hearing none. Motion carries.
Yeah, I should have made the comment earlier,
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
I find it interesting. I mean, not only is it rewarding, I think, for the students, but it's rewarding for us as individuals and as adults, because you stay in touch with
The next generation.
the school system, what's going on. I mean, it really is a two-way street. You benefit as much as they do.
Good. Great. Okay. Item 11, appointments and resignations. 11.1, act on resignation received from Josh Hirschman from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there a motion to accept the resignation with regret and appreciation?
Yeah, so moved. That's too bad.
And
He's got a lot on his
a
plate.
second?
Yeah, I'll second it. I'll let it come through.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
11.2, act on resignation from Anita Catardi from the Board of Fire Commissioners. I'll make that motion with regret and appreciation for her service. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals, motion carries. 11.3, act on recommendation received to move Brittany Murrows from alternate to regular member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term to expire February 28th, 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. 11.4, act on recommendation to move Wendy Dockery from alternate to regular member on the Economic Development Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire November 30th, 2020. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. 11.5, act on a recommendation to move Scott Edmond from alternate to regular member on the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire February 28th, 2019. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Call the question. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals, motion carries. 11.6, act on recommendation to appoint Philip Maltese as an alternate to the Guilford Lakes Golf Course Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire September 30th, 2020. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Call the
And
question.
I have a
Yep.
comment before
You
we
sir-
vote.
sir.
On a number of the rest of them, instead of acting on a recommendation,
Yeah.
if the individual applies directly to
Right.
us, there's not a recommendation. So can we act on the application? Is
Yeah.
that meaningless? Or, I mean, in the other cases, when the individual does come
Yeah,
to
through one of the
they're
committees, right,
recommending.
right.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. So the motion is then to appoint Philip Maltese as an alternate?
He was a recommendation.
He was?
He was.
Oh.
Up in the corner, it says DTC.
I didn't
sorry.
see that.
Yeah.
Still an excellent-
Actually, yeah, and you know what, that deserves to be on the form, actually, if
Yeah.
there's a way we could do that.
I think
Just
we've
It's
talked
penciled
about
in at
I
the
think that
top.
we have,
At
yeah.
the very tippy
Little,
top.
yeah, I see it
But
now.
that's
It
probably
is.
not a bad idea to have the line on the form.
Yeah.
It's also good because we keep trying to emphasize through the newspaper and at occasional meetings here that people can, it can come through the town committees, but it also can come through directly.
Yes.
And so it's nice to make that differentiation.
Okay, we'll revise the form and we'll actually put that category in there.
Okay.
Item 7, act on a recommendation to appoint Matthew Healy to the Board of Fire Commissioners to fill a vacancy for a term to expire October 16, 2021.
So moved.
Is there, and a second?
Second.
Call the question. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Hearing none, motion carries. 11.8, act on a recommendation to appoint Tracy Brent Calafiore as an alternate to the Economic Development Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire April 30th, 2020. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. 11.9, act on a recommendation to appoint Amy Earls to the Economic Development Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire November 30th, 2020. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. 11.10, act on a recommendation to reappoint Peter Palumbo to the Guilford Housing Authority for a term to expire March 31st, 2023. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Recusals? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 12, request for the use of town property. Act on a request from the Guilford Rotary to place a sign on the green advertising its Frosty 5K taking place January 1st, 2019. Which one of the Rotarians wants to make that motion?
Forget my handwriting on this, but I would like to make that motion for consideration of the board.
Would another Rotary member like to second that?
We'll double second.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Item 12.2, act on a request from Shabbat Lubavitch of the Shoreline to use the green and to place a sign on the green advertising its Shoreline Jewish Festival taking place July 14th, 2019. Sign placement will be June 30th through July 14th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Item 13, correspondence, building officials' monthly report. Any comments or questions? Public Works monthly report. Any comments or questions? This is time to ask Tom. No. Item 14, committee reports. Sandy, anything on any future developments on the affordable housing initiative?
Only that on the November 19th, this board authorized town employees in the planning department and the legal department to start working on an RFP for possible for-profit or not-for-profit developers to answer our RFP and to hopefully present a feasible, sound plan to build some affordable housing units on the Woodruff Road property. So I don't have anything else at the moment.
Sandy, I did have one question / comment. I've had some discussions with the co-chairs of the Sustainable Guilford Task Force. I understand they've already reached out to George relative to incorporating the framework and some of the fundamentals of sustainability into that project.
Okay, I'll follow up. I wasn't aware of that, but
Okay.
it makes sense.
Yeah, I think as we move forward to becoming a sustainable certified community, it makes sense for us to incorporate the framework or the pillars and some of the initiatives that are in that. Rain gardens are one of them. Those kind of things.
Okay.
There are a variety of things for which we get credit towards the certification. So, Lou.
I met with the first selectman in North Haven. This is regarding building official fees. Mike Frieda and his staff, they were very helpful. And we are making arrangements to meet with Branford and hopefully Madison to fill out. And we're trying to still sort of see this tension between doing it on a square foot basis versus a value basis. So I'll be able to report in the new year.
Good. Thank you. That's it for reports, I think. All right. Old business? New business? None? Public forum. Anyone wishing to address the board in public forum, please come on up. State your name and address for the record, please. And
Well, it's a few weeks shy of being officially Dr. Daly, but now that my dissertation's complete, I wanted to take the opportunity to address the board. I was a Guilford resident for over 20 years. And
just
have
first name and address for the record, please.
Sorry,
That's
yes.
okay.
Justin Daly, 52 Estelle Road in East Haven. I think that being a longtime dog lover and animal rights advocate, I've been following this case for some time, the case regarding Simon. And I think it's very disturbing that a police officer could simply take this dog who was defending its property from what was an armed trespasser as far as the dog's concerned, and to think that his dog is going to be killed for doing what I would expect my dogs to do, and I just wanted to make sure that I had voiced my opinion on the record that as somebody who spends the majority of my time in Guilford and the majority of my life in Guilford, that I think this is very disturbing that this poor family has to suffer for all this time and is going to spend another Christmas without their dog, who frankly hasn't even been accused of doing anything wrong or in any way inappropriate. It did what I would expect any dog to do. And that's really all I have to say on the matter. I would hope that the board continues to reconsider this matter and to reverse the previous administration's decision, because really this is just not something that this community should stand for in allowing this kind of decision or behavior to be carried out. This is a sweet dog that did not do anything wrong, and I would hope more people come out and voice their opinions and continue to do so, because frankly this case has cost this town tens of thousands of dollars to try and kill a dog. I mean, is this really what this community is about? Think about what that money could have been used for. But I thank you for your time, and
thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Yes, my name is Anthony Bruno. I am also at 52 Estelle Road in East Haven. I haven't been a Guilford resident, so, and I won't use all 3 minutes, but I would just like to take the opportunity to voice my support in this and just simply say some very basic things. It's Christmas. And if anyone's ever seen Miracle on 34th Street or anything else, this just seems so difficult to believe that this has gone on for at least what I've been able to glean from public records, for like over a year. And it just seems very antagonistic and cruel when you think about pets being part of an emotional fabric of a family. And given that the kid's injury by now, I believe, has healed, this injury to this family is continuing. So I just really think if there's a way to do something and maybe give the pet confinement to the home or something while this continues. But and I apologize for maybe being a little sarcastic with that remark, but just really think about this and, try to do something to help the family. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Catherine Adams, 250 Drumara, Guilford. So I've been thinking a lot about this, and I have so much angst, honestly, when I think about who are we as a community. And I think about all the things we were talking about this morning and what we're spending money on and what we want to do in our agenda and our mission. What is our community's mission? And are we upholding that mission by what's happening with Simon? I don't feel that we can say that we are. And that is really confronting to me as a Guilford resident. How can I hold these two things together? And I don't feel that I can. I feel we're out of balance. And we really need to look at that. So as a community, we are actively engaged, as demonstrated by this morning, and all these people participating and coming back up for commission and positions that we're all strongly feeling about. We are informed. We are community-minded. We are flexible. And we care. So how do we demonstrate that? What precedent is being set by being stuck in some history? History cycles, yet history also can grow and change, and we know that by many things that happen in our town. We just recently had the witness stones that really talked a lot about change and attitude and perception. So what is our attitude and perception about this dog and about holding a dog? Is this breed discrimination? I hope not. I really hope not. What are we modeling for the children of our community? When we say we can't reevaluate, that we can't mediate, that we can't come to reasonable conclusions. I think most of us hope for mediation. We hope for flexibility. And these are the things we want out of our mentorship. These are the things that we want out of our students learning resilience. This is what we want out of a community that doesn't allow bullying. I'm not saying this is the same thing. I'm just saying look at these attributes together, and we really have to say, what are we modeling? What do we expect to occur going forward? So we let this kill order stand. What happens then? We're all here, and I'm here twice a month saying, why did we let that happen? Why? Why are we doing that? Why are we letting it happen? So there's that history, but what does that kill order reflect about us? These people right here, when we reevaluate these facts, is there room to make a change? I believe there is. I truly believe there is room to make change. And we're all reasonable people, and we can do that. And that's how we look at ourselves in the mirror each morning. Like, am I a resilient person that can make change and be a positive force? And that is my goal, to be a positive force. And that is why I'm here. I'm not saying anyone was whatever about the history. We leave that be, but we bring something else forward. And that's my goal. And I'll be here again in 2 weeks. And thank you for the community center for being here. I'm so glad their elevator works and it allows everyone to come here. I'm sorry I was a little late because of not keeping that in alignment, that our elevator is not functioning in town hall. So thank you for having this time where we can all speak too. I really do appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for taking the opportunity. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
My name is Rita Moyo, and I live at 90 Cedar Street in Stratford, Connecticut. I speak today to remind everyone of the human side of this tragedy. In the political climate of no compassion, and you have to agree with me, I truly hope that the politicians that have the power to make the decisions think about the human side and have some compassion for all involved. The decision will affect the children that are part of this and the generations to follow. I truly hope that my state, the state of Connecticut, will be the first to put compassion back into our lives and that the other 48 states follow our lead. To some people, Simon is just a dog. To other people, he's a symbol of what can happen when you know someone. To me, he's an innocent animal caught up in our political climate of you have to agree with me or you're out. I hope I am wrong, and I hope compassion prevails.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Sorry.
That's fine.
One of those people I am. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Cindy Lee Vaporis, 7 Alpine Drive, East Haven, Connecticut, United States of America. Again, I'm going to apologize for the last meeting. I got emotional.
Understood.
But, and I'm not an artist, but I pretty much think that this is going to sum it up. Simon, the ball coming over the yard, the wire fence. Here's a little filly boy. Here's Simon. Here's the dog sitter. She's in the yard the whole time. Okay? Here he goes. He gets the cutters out of the garage. Here's his lacrosse stick. Dog's still sitting in the yard with the dog sitter. Still in the yard with a golden retriever. Okay? Here we go. He's got the wire cutters, he cuts the wires, he comes in, coming through the fence. Dog's going, what the heck is this? Here's the ball. Here's the filly boy. Oh no, the dog bit me because I was in his yard. Here's the dog going, what are you doing in my yard? Okay? Here's the dog sitter going, where did you come from? Never heard of it. Here's a young family down here, all in tears, because their dog is not home again this Christmas. Here's the ball. Here's the kid that got bit with 11 stitches. Next time I think I'll bring the pictures of my daughter's scars, of the 50 stitches that she received. But I didn't kill the dog. I'm just hoping that this can all come to a conclusion that makes everybody happy. Dr. Young is willing to do things in his yard to make it so that Simon can't come out. Not that he comes out of his yard. But there is a dog there that does look like Simon that roams the neighborhood. I can get you footage of that too if you like. I have footage of everything. I have footage of the dog, me talking to the dog, me giving the dog a treat. Any expert about dog aggression or anything like that would tell you that if that dog was that badly aggressive, that dog would have come up to that fence and would have just sat there and gone after me and tried to get through that fence. My little 9-pound Min Pin Chihuahua I just got as a rescue, who knows no life other than in a cage, would bite you before Simon would, which is sad. Okay, Simon's a family pet. It's a bad incident. The kid made a bad choice. We know it. The kid made a choice, but I don't understand why the town wants to keep paying for this, because nobody's going to win here but the fillies. Okay, and you're doing the dirty work for them. I'm not dirty work, but you know, you're footing the bill for them, and you guys are getting all the bad publicity. You know, I have tons of people in the animal rescue. I know people in the media trying to be nice. I really am, because I think you guys deserve a chance to make this right, because it wasn't you guys. It's not wrong to say somebody else made a bad decision and we want to fix it. That's all I'm asking. You know, consider it. I know you guys are probably sick of me, but, you know, I can't go to sleep at night. Sorry. I can't go to sleep at night. I think about this all the time. This is not my dog. I'm just going to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Thank you ever so much again. Have a Happy New Year, because I don't think we're going to see each other before then. And drive safely.
You too.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, my name is Devora Lynch of Hampton, Connecticut. I'm new to this case. It was brought to my attention. I have a pet services business. I walk dogs every day. A lot of those dogs I don't even meet before I get there necessarily. And I'm just really confused about why this is happening. And I really don't understand why the follow-up for trespassing and breaking through a fence isn't more important to uphold and isn't more important for us to uphold for our children, which touches on our earlier point. I am also confused why a meeting where we can register this is at in the morning. I think that disenfranchises voters, but I know there's also been other opportunities to speak, but I wanted to mention that as well. And that's all. Take care.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to address the board? No? All right. Well, thank you for your comments. Item 18, discuss and take possible action on settlement of a claim regarding Guilford High School turf field. Is going to require an executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session? A second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstaining, recusals? Executive session. And at this point, I don't think we're going to invite anybody in at this point on this issue. We'll be coming back, yeah. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
That's a move and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. As a result of our discussions, is there a motion to allow me to accept the conditions negotiated in the mediation session regarding the Guilford High School turf field?
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining, recusals. Hearing none, motion carries. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Let's see if I've got it here.